Alright, I just had a new haircut. Do you know what else is new? A new intro. Let's roll it. Recently, I went to Rocky Mountain National Park and captured the following panorama. I think it's pretty cool. So today in this video, I'm going to talk about panorama and everything you need to know how to make a panorama from start to finish. And also today I have an announcement. I am hosting a photography competition on Shuttout.com and you can join the photography competition to win money. I will talk more about it at the end of this video, so please stay around until end of this video. Now let's get back to panorama. There are two ways to make panoramas. The first way is super easy, super convenient, and the second way is a little bit more complicated. First, let me start with the first way. And all you need is your smartphone. Nowadays, smartphones have panorama feature built into the camera app, and all you need to do is switch to panorama mode, and you either take multiple photos from left to right, or you just pan your cell phone from left to right. And once you are done, the software inside your cell phone will automatically stitch all the photos together to create a panorama. So that's super easy, super convenient to do. But there are limitations. First, you cannot change the lens on your cell phone. And the second, the sensor size on your cell phone usually are pretty small compared to a modern camera. In general, the larger the sensor is, the better the image quality is. If you want to get better image quality than the cell phone can provide, especially in low light, then you probably want a larger sensor size camera. And that brings up the second, a little bit more complicated setup, and I will explain. First, you need a tripod. Even though it is possible that you can handheld your camera and take multiple photos from left to right, and in post-processing you are still able to stitch all those photos together to create a panorama, but I always recommend to use a tripod, especially if you are shooting in low light, like if you are shooting in sunrise or sunset. And using a tripod just improves the stability and increase the chance you can successfully merge all your photos. And when choosing tripods, I recommend tripods that has a bubble level, because when shooting panorama, the first thing you want to make sure is your tripod is level. So when I am out shooting panorama, I can just look at this bubble level to make sure my tripod is perfectly level. The second thing you need is a ball head that supports panorama feature. For example, this is Benro B0 ball head, and there is a knob right here, and if I loosen this knob, and then I can rotate the ball head like this, so I can take multiple photos from left to right, like this. Also, if you are shooting a horizontal panorama, you want to put your camera in portrait mode. You can do that either by tilting your ball head to 90 degrees like this, so your camera is in portrait mode, or you can use a L bracket to turn your camera to be portrait mode. Most of the modern cameras have digital level feature. You want to turn on digital level to make sure your camera is perfectly level throughout the range that you want to capture. If your camera doesn't have a bubble level feature, then you can purchase a bubble level accessory. I think it's pretty small, portable, and pretty useful if your camera doesn't have bubble level feature. And basically you can just put that on top of the hot shoot like this, and you can just look at the bubble to determine if your camera is level. Now you are ready to shoot. Just make sure two photos overlap with each other by 1/3 of the frame. That way in post-processing, the software can find a common area in both photos and stitch those photos together using this common area. Alright, now you have all the photos you need, and next I'm going to show you how you can stitch all those photos together to create a panorama in post-processing. I'm going to show you how to do that in Lightroom and how to do that in Photoshop. Now I am in Lightroom and I'm going to merge these 8 photos into a panorama. First, select all the photos that you want to merge, and then right click and then go to Photo Merge and go to Panorama. And the Lightroom is going to generate a preview. Once the preview is generated, you can select a projection on the right hand side. Click through each button and see which projection you like the best. And I recommend to check auto crop so you don't have to manually crop later. And I just leave the setting like that, and then I click on merge, and the Lightroom is going to generate a panorama for you. Depending on your hardware and the number of photos you are merging, it could take a while for Lightroom to generate the entire panorama. Alright, now the panorama just finished and it just saved into Lightroom, and then now you can go to developer module and edit these files. For example, now we can pull the highlight down, we can increase contrast, we can set the black point, set the white point, bring up the shadow a little bit, and then increase the vibrance, make it a little bit more saturated. Alright, this is before and this is after. This is how you can stitch photos in Lightroom. It's pretty straightforward, but I don't use Lightroom. I use Capture One instead. But Capture One doesn't have this feature to merge multiple photos into a panorama. So I need to bring all those photos into Photoshop. So next I'm going to show you, if you don't use Lightroom, how you can merge multiple photos into a panorama in Photoshop. Now I'm in Photoshop CC. And first go to File, and then go to Automate, and then go to Photo Merge. And in this dialog, select Files, and then click on Browse. And then go to the folder which contains your photos, and select the photos that you want to merge into a panorama. In this case, I'm going to select these 8 photos, and then click on OK. Usually the layout setting, I set it to auto. I think auto most of the time does a pretty good job. And then I select blend images together and then vignette removal. Now click OK. And Photoshop is loading the photos, and after loading, Photoshop is going to merge all your photos. Alright, looks like Photoshop just finished processing the photos. And in Photoshop, we need to crop. So I'm gonna crop in a little bit. Like that. And select OK. Alright, this is the photo, and now I'm going to merge all visible layers. On PC, you can do that by pressing Ctrl, Alt, Shift, and E. And I don't need all the other layers, so I'm gonna just remove those and then save this as a TIFF. So save as, and go to the directory that you want to save the file, and then I'm going to call this Panorama. And I don't want layers, I just want a single layer as a TIFF. Alright, save it. Okay. So now I can import the TIFF file into Capture One and continue editing. Alright, now you have everything you need to make panoramas. Let's go out and practice and make panoramas. And you can share your panoramas with me, and potentially you can win money with your photos. Let me explain. I partnered with Shuttout.com to set up my photography competition. Shuttout.com is a website you can upload your photos and enter into photography competitions. My competition is called Panoramic View, and apparently it is about panoramas. But there are lots of other competitions, such as portrait photography competition, travel photography competition, long exposure competition, and so many others. You can enter any of those. There are 2 ways you can enter a competition. First way is free entry. You can enter a competition for free, but you cannot win the final monetary prize. The second way is premium entry for $2, and you can win the final monetary prize. The prize starts at $25, and every time someone enters the competition as a premium entry, the prize gets increased, so it gets bigger and bigger. Since I am partnering with Shuttout.com, everyone who signs up for free using the link below will receive $2 bonus after their premium entry to any contest, which means you get a free opportunity to win the final prize from any competition. Alright guys, share your best photos and win money on Shuttout.com. Alright guys, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have panoramas, don't forget to enter my photography competition, and I will put links and information in the description below, so feel free to check those out. If you are not subscribed already, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel for more photography tips and tricks and tutorials, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.